does it end? When does it stop? This cost of living and housing crisis, we are heading for something bad.
I'm currently stairs of my best friend's unit here in Manly, and I'm about to put laundry on that I have to pay for with money.
People are travelling overseas more than ever before, but there's a cost of living crisis.
$60 fucking dollars. Go fuck yourself. $38 for fucking 24 rolls. Fuck off.
Starting off with rent, I pay $1,820 a month. Milk. And eggs. And 3 potato noodles. All this. Just this. It was $17.
The cost of living crisis in Australia has reached a point where frustration is no longer hidden. It's part of daily life. For many people, every week brings new stress, new calculations, and new worries. Rent keeps rising, grocery prices are increasing, and housing feels harder to access than ever before. What once felt manageable now feels overwhelming. Rent is one of the biggest sources of frustration. Finding a place to live has become exhausting, with crowded inspections and limited options. Many people are paying more than half of their income just to keep a roof over their heads. Others are forced to share rooms, move frequently, or live far away from work and family. Housing no longer feels stable. It feels uncertain. Grocery shopping has also become a painful reminder of how expensive life has become. Basic items like milk, vegetables, bread, and rice cost more each month. People are cutting back, switching brands, or skipping items altogether. Families are stretching budgets, students are choosing cheaper meals, and even full-time workers are struggling to afford everyday food. What used to be routine is now stressful. Some feel angry, some feel tired, some feel unheard. But all of these voices matter. Talking openly about these issues helps people feel less alone and helps others understand what life is truly like right now.
To all the people who are renting, how much are you paying? Like, realistically, how much are you paying? And where do you live? Because I've been having people tell me that they're paying $800 to $900 a month and they're not in the hood. Like, where are they doing that at? Because last time I checked, you can't even get a 1-bedroom, 1-bathroom apartment for less than $1,800. And that's being generous. Like, I understand if you're paying $800, $900 if you're living in bumfuck nowhere in like Iowa or Michigan, but I'm talking about like major cities. Like, if you don't necessarily want to live out in the country, like, what are you paying? You know, to live in like the suburbs even of like Atlanta or Houston, Baltimore. Like, I don't like the major cities. Where are you guys living at to pay like affordable rent?
$60 fucking dollars. Go fuck yourself. $38 for fucking 24 rolls. Fuck off. $19.60. That's fucked. $15. Fuck off. $30 fucking dollars for a dishwashing tablet. You're fucked. $16 for Rocky Road. Fuck off. $25 for dog food. Fuck off.
So after spending decades rooting the aged care system up the fucking clacker, ensuring that their parents went into Bangham and Bingham homes, they want to complain that they're going to have to pay $50 an hour for basic care. Oh no, are you going to have to fucking deal with the aged care system that you have fucked for so fucking long? Oh no, you're gonna have to feel your own fucking wrath now that you're too old to fucking do anything about it. Oh my God. It didn't matter until now though. It didn't matter. And now they're like, oh, I'm gonna have to pay for in-home care? I don't really care, dude. No one can afford a house. No one can afford a grocery shop. And you're like, oh, I'm gonna have to pay for in-care. Oh no. Maybe you shouldn't have spent so long fucking it up the clacker then.
Australia is very good at keeping its citizens broke and keeping them poor. We are a resource-rich country. We have gold, we have iron ore, we have natural gas, we have coal. Yet, instead of charging the resource companies more, they're charging us more in taxes. They're introducing more taxes. We should be reducing, if not removing, some of the ridiculous taxes that we're paying. There are countries out there, Norway, Germany, UAE, that are resource-rich, and instead of charging its citizens more, it's charging the resource companies more and benefiting from the resources that it's got. This is what Australia needs to do, and this is what Australia is failing to do. When it comes time that Australia realises that its people are leaving, maybe, hopefully, they realise that it's because there are other countries out there that look after its citizens.
So everyone knows I'm literally Australia's biggest fan, but here are 3 things I don't like about living in Australia. This one might sound obvious to a lot of people, but it still came as a shock to me, and that is just how far Australia is. It takes forever to get literally anywhere. Flying in and out of the country is really expensive. It prevents me from seeing my family a lot of the time. Everyone says Australia is far, but it is really far. Secondly is that the most random things are expensive. I would say living in Melbourne is still overall more affordable than living in Copenhagen or Dubai, which are the only 2 other places I've lived. Groceries, like vegetables at grocery stores. Public transport is more expensive. Random like bills, like my gas bill is super expensive. I feel like there's just a lot of like random hidden costs, but I will say that eating out and Ubers are a lot cheaper than Copenhagen, which is a huge plus. And my rent. But most of the time rent is like sort of the same. And lastly, I've been so lucky with my friends. I've met the most amazing people, but it is hard to find people who like truly get me and understand me and my background because Australia is so far. A lot of people haven't traveled a lot, and because Australia is so isolated as well, a lot of people don't know what's going on in the world. It can be a bit hard sometimes. A lot of them also just don't know about current events that are happening around the world because Australia is so isolated. So you kind of like don't really need to know. As someone who's very international, that's things that like I care about a lot. So yeah, still love everyone that I've met, but it's just hard to find people who like truly understand me and like the international life that I've lived. Overall, of course, all the pros still outweigh the cons. Still love Australia so much. It's my favorite place I've ever lived, but these are just some things to consider when moving there.
People talk about the housing crisis like it's just numbers, but it actually changed how people live inside their bodies. What people are sharing in these comments is exactly the point. This isn't even about budgeting better or choosing the right city. People are paying more for less safety, less stability, less dignity. Housing is not just expensive, it's keeping people in survival mode. And when survival takes all your energy, everything else gets harder by design. That is the point.
By every official measure, your quality of life is higher than your parents'. So why did they own a home at your age and you don't? On paper, you're living better than any generation in history. In your bank account, you're behind where your parents were at your age. Both of these are true. So here's how. Economists use something called a hedonic adjustment. The idea is simple. So when products get better, that counts as a form of wealth. So if a car today has backup cameras, better gas mileage, and Bluetooth, that would be factored in. Even if the sticker price went up by 50%, they might record it as just like 30% inflation because you're getting more for your money. It's like this sandwich going up 10%, but only being recorded as 8% because now I have pickles. Here's why that matters. It's because that adjusted number is used to calculate macro level inflation. And inflation is what your raise is based on and what drives the economic conversation. So if real prices go up 10%, but the hedonic adjustment says 5%, your 3% raise isn't almost keeping up. It's falling behind twice as fast as it looks. And yes, the hedonic adjustments are real to reflect good things, good changes, but a lot of these upgrades aren't optional. In 1970, maybe like 35% of homes had air conditioning. Now it's standard. In most of the country, you literally cannot buy a house without it, especially anything that was built since then. So the upgrade is baked into every home price, electric bill, every repair, and it's not something that you chose, it's just there and you have to pay for it. Smartphones is a good example. You need one to log into your bank. Your job requires it for email or Slack or like 2-factor authentication. Your kid's school would send you updates through an app. That's not a luxury. That's a participation ticket. But it gets measured as like, oh, look how good you have it. Right? So if your parents had a $15 landline and a $3,000 used car, you have a $150 phone bill and $15,000 reliable used car. So yeah, they had less stuff and worse stuff, but they had more slack, more money left over for the non-negotiables, more room to breathe. We upgraded all the stuff and downgraded the slack, basically meaning the ability to save. And the economists and the government, they call it progress, which is then used to justify basically smaller raises. And so the next time someone tells you Gen Z and millennials, they have it so much better than your parents and your grandparents, ask them, by what measure? Because if the measure counts mandatory expenses as like lifestyle upgrades, it's not tracking your wealth. It's confusing what you have with what you choose.
Is it just me, or like what the actual flip is going on. I just brought milk and eggs and 3 potato noodles. All this, just this, was $17. $17. What is going on? Do you remember those ads where it would be like, feed your family of 4 for like $5 or $10? I can't even buy milk and eggs for $10. It's crazy.
Let's talk about the cost of moving to Australia as an American. So to move to Australia, you'll need your visa, flight, insurance, apartment or temporary accommodation, and eSIM. And those are the costs that you'll need to pay for before you get there or like right when you arrive. As for the visa, I got the 462 working holiday visa. I paid an equivalent of $438 for this visa. I'm just going to say everything in USD so it makes it easier. My flight from Austin to Sydney, Australia was about $500, which is actually such a good deal. Delta was having a sale, which helped, so just keep an eye out on sales. Insurance, I'm just counting the first month of insurance. I'm using Safety Wing, and I've used them for like travel insurance before. And a month of Safety Wings, $56. And as for housing, I do have an apartment. I'm taking one of my friend's subleases, which worked out pretty well. I'm paying 380 Australian dollars a week. Notice that rent prices in Australia listed weekly instead of monthly, which is interesting. But that comes out to equivalent of about a little over $1,000 US a month. And I'm gonna get an Australian phone number and Australian eSIM once I arrive, but I'm gonna get a temporary eSIM with Airella, so I have data like right when I land. And this is $9. On the topic of phone numbers, I'm gonna port my US number to Google Voice, which is $20. All those costs and a couple of like first month rent and insurance, it comes out to a little over $2,000 US to move to Australia.
This is how far a salary of $100,000 will get you in Australia's third largest city, Brisbane. After tax, you'll be left with $75,033. Given the 30% rule, you should only be spending $1,875 on your accommodation. Get a decent house for this much price, you will be living up to 25 minutes from the Brisbane CBD. This will be in one of the nicer suburbs. Grocery bill for one person should be around $420 per month, but this might go up to $580 thanks to inflation. Brisbane's public transport can set you back a maximum of $320 per month. An average mobile plan with 30 gigs of data should be around $40 to $50. Follow for part 4 and comment down below on which city you want next.
This is how much I spend in a month living in Melbourne, Australia. Starting off with rent, I pay $1,820 a month. I live near the city and close to the beach. I also share this apartment with one other person. For bills, I paid $124.90. This includes my phone and electricity bill. For food and groceries, I spent $584.88. I know this sounds like a lot for one person, but keep in mind that I eat as much as I want. I also eat really healthy, so this includes fresh fruit, vegetables, fresh herbs, and seafood. I did eat out 5 times this month, but I only paid for one of those meals. For travel, I paid $272.07. $217 of that was for parking. The apartment where I live does not have an available parking space, so I pay to park on the street. For the gym, I pay $63.96 a month. The gym that I go to is pretty small, but it's a 2-minute walk from where I live, and it's pretty affordable. For beauty, I spent $492.27. This month, I dyed my hair from platinum blonde to brown, and I also got my nails done and my eyebrows done. I spent $405 on physio appointments this month because I have a chronic injury. And lastly, my other costs came to $240.28. This week, my power went off and I had to call an electrician. Unfortunately, he would not let me pay with my good looks, so that cost $212. I also bought some stationery this month. In total this month, I spent $475.52. So that's how much I spend in a month living in Melbourne, Australia. Leave a comment and let me know how much you spend in a month. Let me know if you think this is expensive or if it's pretty reasonable.
What you get for what you pay for in Sydney is not worth it in my eyes. I am currently downstairs with my best friend's unit here in Manly, and I'm about to put laundry on that I have to pay for with money that also gets shared with every other apartment here in the building. This is normal here, guys. I lived in Potts Point and Darlinghurst, and it was normal there too. I had the exact same thing. I used to have to pay $2 for washing. Here, it's $4 for a load of washing. Although the residents are sneaky and they started slamming the lid of it, and they get it for free sometimes, which is amazing. I love that for them. You have to pay for a dryer as well. Like, come on, guys, you cannot tell me that I'm wrong. This is not worth it. Where I live at the moment in Dubai, I pay 66,000 dirham a year, $500 a week. I also get a gym concierge, car park, and my apartment is brand new. I'm the first tenant to live in there. I also have a massive glass wall. I have direct sunlight. And then when I come here, I'm reminded as to why I moved. My best friend, she pays $700 a week. It's about $10,000 more. There is no concierge, no gym, no car park, no direct sunlight, and you have to pay for your washing. There's only one washing machine that you have to share with everybody else. I'm sorry, what? This is crazy. It just blows my mind every time. If you own a property, it's going to be different. But why would you want to own a property in a building that doesn't even have washing machines inside the property? My cousin was looking at buying an apartment, not in Manly. She was looking at buying an apartment and it didn't have a car park. It was going for like $1 million. The value you get for your money, not there. People are wondering why Australians are moving away, why they're moving overseas, because you get so much more. This is the amount of sunlight. I'll show you the amount of sunlight that she gets in her apartment. And it's outside. Australians are getting ripped off. That's what I think. Okay, now let's see if we can get this for free like everybody else. I'm going to bring you closer so you can see with me. Let's see if I have to pay. I think you have to pay $4, guys. It worked. I got it for $2.
Why do I feel excited about paying $2? I think I got it for half price, but I'm still getting ripped off. Why is this costing money? So crazy.
Australia's supposed to be in a cost of living crisis. Yet you come to Sydney Airport or any airport around Australia and they're busy and packed, and there's never been a better time to travel. People are traveling overseas more than ever before, but there's a cost of living crisis. So people are really struggling, but at the same time, everyone's traveling overseas, either to Bali, Thailand, Europe, or wherever they're going. And then, like, I was at a fancy restaurant in Sydney just a couple of weeks ago over the Christmas and New Year, and it was packed. I was like, I can afford to eat here once per year. And it was packed just full of people. And I'm like, I don't understand. The media is selling the story of cost of living crisis and inflation and prices going up, which is true, but people have money. Well, why isn't anyone selling a story that Australians have money and they're spending money on travel, luxury goods, good food, restaurants? And people are still buying houses. I was talking to my broker a couple of weeks ago and he told me he's never been busier. People are buying houses. And we've got a cost of living crisis in Australia. Trying to figure it out.
The annual income needed to buy a house in each Australian city. Melbourne, $189,000. Adelaide, $163,000. Brisbane, $178,000. Canberra, $205,000. I was surprised by that. Hobart, $148,000. And Perth, $140,000. Darwin, $124,000. Sydney, a whopping $293,000. Kill.
Cost of spirits is set to soar thanks to a tax hike. A scheduled 6-month.
When does it end? When does it stop? This cost of living and housing crisis, we are heading for something bad. I can feel it. I feel it in my bones. And I just want to ask, if you're an Australian, like me, are you tired? And I'm not talking about just physically tired. I'm talking like tired in your soul. Like at the moment, I feel like I am just grinding to get nowhere with no end in sight. And I don't even have it that bad. Like, I am privileged in this circumstance, and today I'm single, I don't have a mortgage, and I don't have children. Granted, I don't make a shit ton of money, but it is still a struggle. So I do not know how families with children, with mortgages, are doing it. How are you doing it? Are you okay? Do you need help? Like, does anyone care? And another thing, I know 70% of my followers are American. Is it that bad over there, or is it just here? Is it everywhere? I don't know. But I'm just tired. I'm so tired all the time. All the time. And then I think, if I'm tired and feeling like this, how must families with mortgages be feeling? Like it must be crippling. Are you okay? Something needs to happen, or something needs to stop. We can't keep going on like this. It is not right and it is not fair. The latest bit of data I saw was stating that at the moment, 69% of the price increases in the country, in Australia, that we are seeing are false and are only being used or scapegoated under the guise of inflation or increased cost of goods, increased cost of living, etc., etc. The big fat cats, they're making the dough, they're making the money. And as always, the middle class are left to suffer. And I'm not going to throw lower class into that equation because I don't like referring to them as lower class. They're not lower class people. And they struggle at the best of times, let alone at the moment. But my biggest thing is, what can we do, or what are we going to do? What can we do? What are we going to do to stop it? Just stop. Because when enough people unite and start standing against this ridiculousness, you would be amazed at how powerful that one singular voice can be. Speaking of the voice, I don't even know what that is about. What is the voice about? I'm too concerned with cost of living and housing crises to be concerned with what the voice is. No one can tell me what the voice is. Is that what they use, putting in front of us the voice, the voice, the voice, in order to, like hide everything else? Oh, tax increases, tax cuts, blah, 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 blah. I just have zero trust and faith in this government at the moment. Zero. And big business. Government and big business. Zero. I don't think I ever have, now that I'm thinking about it. I don't think so. But I do wish anybody who is tired or struggling just all the best. No one is alone in this. Nobody is alone. I don't think a single person I've seen has got a tax return this year. That's how bad it is. It will get better. There will be better days ahead. Eventually.
As we come to the end of this video, one thing is impossible to ignore. The cost of living crisis in Australia is no longer something people can quietly manage. It has reached a point where frustration, stress, and exhaustion are part of everyday life. The stories and opinions shared here reflect what many people are feeling, but don't always get the chance to say out loud. Rent and housing have become some of the biggest sources of pressure. For many, finding a place to live feels like a full-time job. Inspections are crowded, choices are limited, and prices keep climbing. People are paying more than ever just to have a basic roof over their heads. Some are forced to share spaces they never imagined sharing. Others move further away from work, family, and support systems. Housing, which should provide safety and stability, has instead become a constant worry. Grocery prices add another layer to this frustration. What used to be a simple weekly shop now feels like a shock at the checkout. Basic items like milk, vegetables, bread, rice, and cooking oil cost more, and many people are forced to make tough choices. Families cut back on essentials, students stretch meals, and workers carefully calculate every dollar. Food is no longer just about nutrition, it's about affordability and survival. These pressures don't stop there. Electricity bills, fuel costs, transport expenses, and everyday services continue to rise. At the same time, wages often fail to keep up. Many people feel like no matter how hard they work, they're still falling behind. Saving money feels impossible. Planning for the future feels uncertain. Even small joys feel difficult when basic needs take priority. What makes this situation even harder is the emotional toll it takes. Constant financial stress leads to anxiety, frustration, and burnout. Many people feel angry, tired, or hopeless. Others feel embarrassed to talk about their struggles, worried they'll be judged or told to just manage better. But what this video shows clearly is that these struggles are widespread. This is not about poor choices. It's about rising costs affecting everyday people. It was created to give space to real voices, to let people speak honestly about what they're going through. Talking about the cost of living openly helps break the silence and reminds people they are not alone in feeling this way. If you're watching this and feeling overwhelmed by rent, groceries, or daily expenses, please know this. You are not weak and you are not failing. These are challenging times, and many people are struggling despite doing everything they can. Feeling frustrated or exhausted is a natural response to an unfair situation. And if you're someone who isn't directly affected right now, listening still matters. Understanding these experiences builds empathy. A society where people struggle to afford housing and food affects everyone, from workplaces and schools to healthcare and community well-being. When people are constantly stressed about survival, it impacts the entire system. We want this channel to be a place for honest and respectful conversation. Your experience matters. Your frustration matters. Whether you're renting, buying groceries on a tight budget, supporting a family, or simply observing the changes around you, sharing your thoughts may help someone else feel understood. The cost of living crisis will not be fixed overnight. There are no easy solutions. But conversations like this matter. They bring real experiences into the open and remind decision makers and communities that behind rising prices are real people trying to live with dignity. Thank you for watching till the end. Thank you to everyone who shared their thoughts and experiences. And thank you for listening.